Here you go, the 40th country, Turkey. So from Bulgaria side, I have hitchhiked a truck, and the driver is originally from Turkey. He's originally from Cappadocia, because on the track there's a handcraft, which is Cappadocia handcraft, and the driver doesn't speak much English. He's wearing a pair of gloves, but mostly he told me no problem. Taking me to Istanbul, no problem. Taking me into the border of Turkey, no problem. He's not a very talkative person, and also with the language barrier, so we didn't talk that much, but sometimes it's good because continue talking, takes energy. And Turkish drivers are very funny, because when they stop for overnight, they stop in a certain area for all the trucks driver or other drivers gather together in a certain car park, and then nearby there's restaurant and bathroom, So in the night we stopped, and then we went to the restaurant. I wanted to treat the driver for a dinner to show my appreciation that he offered me a lift. So during the dining process, I went to the payment counter, tried to pay for the meal, and the staff told me, "Oh, it's okay, maybe I should wait after I finish my food," but I insist. So, and then they finally allow me to pay. But after I return back to my seat, I feel, isn't it a little bit cheap for 2 persons meal? So I came back to the paying counter and double checked, because they only charged for my cost, not include the driver. So I just reconfirmed with them that I point out to the driver who offered me the lift, and I said I want to pay for that gentleman who wear a sweater. And then and then the staff can't say no anymore, so I finally paid. And after dinner, I was like watching the television in the restaurant, and the driver was talking with his friend, and then I just feel curious why we didn't continue journey for such a while. And then eventually I noticed we are going to stay in the car park overnight. So I brushed my teeth and then from the washroom nearby, and after that the driver offered me the upper bunk, because there's like a upper and lower, and the driver was sleeping in the lower bunk. He's still awake. He's going to watch movie from his laptop, and then I opened my sleeping bag and sleep. And actually he wanted to offer me a blanket, but it's very cold. I'm grateful enough for just have a upper deck to sleep, so upper bunk to sleep, so I don't want to occupy his blanket. So I didn't take any blanket because I'm afraid he will feel cold. When I wake up for toilets, the driver is still watching movie, and he just put a key on the seat, which allow me to easily going out for toilets. But every time when I open the truck, it will just have some light blend on, so which sometimes I feel guilty that I might wake up the driver. After that, the next early morning, I feel too much cold because it's really freezing. I just wake up. I decided not to go into sleep anymore. Then I went to the same bathroom to brush my teeth, and the water was so cold. And then I returned back to the restaurant where I was last night, and then I had some breakfast. And the previous night, the staff who saw me insisted paying for the driver, and then he didn't charge me for breakfast. Maybe he just see I am a nice person, and then I just told him I had a safe night with the driver. And after that, the driver told me he's going to depart from the car park until late afternoon. So he handed me into his friend who is going to the capital Istanbul in the afternoon. So I just said goodbye to the restaurant staff and the first driver, and then I just followed his friend. His friend is a little bit, in a rush, and then he's always smoking, and then sometimes he seems like impatient. Even when driving, I feel like wow, it's like an adventure. But he helped me to call my couchsurfing host, and then to double check where to put me off. So, and then when we arrived Istanbul, he put me on the highway, and then I continued to walk to the city, but still it's a huge distance. So I just tried to hitchhike, and luckily someone picked me up and dropped to me just where my host supposed to meet me. And then when my host picked me up, he was surprised because he said when he noticed my photos, he doubted if I'm a real hitchhiker, but until he just saw me from a vehicle that the driver offered me a lift, so he just believed. And I was couch surfing in Istanbul, both the Asian side and the European side. I stayed in Istanbul for about 1 week, and then I continued to hitchhike. So Istanbul is a huge city. First thing, I have to get out from the city first. So I took some public transportation and then arrived in a suburb, but still it's not a very outside of the city. So I tried to hitchhike, and one driver stopped. He doesn't speak much English. We use like Google Translate to communicate. And then he typed in his phone like, do I asked me if I want sex? I said no. And then immediately I decided to get off from his vehicle. And after that he typed another sentence to ask me to come back to his vehicle, because he told me this area is not very safe, but I think it's much dangerous to going back to his car. So I said no, and then I continued to hitchhike. And then another elderly Turkish uncle picked me up. He was wearing a hat, and then he offered me a few distance. And then when I thanked him and for saying goodbye, I just offered my handshake, and then he tried to hug, but I tried to avoid, because as a solo female hitchhiker, I try to keep distance from drivers. I mean, even if that's their way for greeting, but I try to do it in my way, in the Chinese way, just for safety. And after that, I continued to hitchhike, and the next driver was another non-English speaker, and then we also used the Google Translate, and he seemed like a little bit worried about me. So we first stopped in a small village outside of a small shop for break, and after that I continued, and then he took me to a bus station, and then he bring me to the police station in the bus station and handed me into the police. And then so I thanked that driver, but I feel like curious what's going on. And then the Turkish driver started to talk to me, because it's very normal for them to see foreigners, hitchhikers around. So they decided to help me. So they firstly put me on a free bus, which is a metro bus. It's like a luxury bus service in Turkey, and that will take me to Ankara, and from there I can continue my journey. So I was, the bus was full, but I was like sitting on the stairs of the bus, and sometimes I feel a little bit embarrassed, because the staff need to get something like